Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Let me fix my hair. Okay. The hair is a mess, but we made it. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let me bring this a little closer. Okay. Can you guys give me a thumbs up that you can hear me? I just want to make sure that the volume is good. Hi, everyone. It's really good to be here with you guys. I don't come on YouTube Live very often. Yay. Okay. But it's really good to be here today. April feels amazing. I was guided to pull a card, so I'm gonna pull a card for all of us before we begin. Wait a few minutes to let some more people join, and we can begin this powerful Q&A. How are you guys? How are you guys doing? How does April feel to you? Feels lighter than March, that's for sure. Speaking of April, let me just do this card real fast for all of you. So the card says, go forward and leave the past behind. Go forward and leave the past behind. So one of the things that we are learning as we step into higher states of consciousness when we're evolving is how to stay present. How to let who we were, how we were, what we believed, relationships we thought would last, jobs we thought would last, even behaviors we thought would last, letting them go. And mourning that, right? Like mourning the loss of whatever it is that we thought may have been with us for a very long time. And this is something that, this is part of the evolution. This is part of our shift. So if you're going through these moments, stepping into April, really releasing a lot of your past, releasing what you thought was going to be your future, that's part of this process. That's part of this shift. Learning how to settle into it, learning how to trust that, learning how to surrender to it. Learning or remembering, I should say, that your higher self is always the one that is navigating this human journey with you and for you. Sometimes when we are stepping out of old ways or the past into new or the now, we feel like, well, if we've changed, we can go back to that old relationship, that old partnership, that old friendship, and we can make it different now because I'm different. And what we find out in the quantum field is that you can't go back. There's only the now, there's only the present. And if the relationship, if the individual, if the job, if whatever it is can't meet you in the now, you gotta let it go. And so we're learning this, surrendering, flowing, moving, releasing more and more. How to let go of the grip of trying to control our human journey. When you really release and let go and let God, or let go and let source, or let go and let higher self, you start to trust all that is in the now. You trust what you are releasing. You trust the relationships that are dropping. You trust the jobs that are dropping. You trust the direction that you're being guided to, the friends that you're losing or gaining. You trust it. You don't question it. We stop trying to fight it. We stop trying to make it fit. The reason we fight these things, the reason we try to make these things fit or stay with us is because we don't like to feel what it feels like to lose something. We don't like what it feels to let something go. Even though in the now moment, we know intuitively on a resonance level that it's time to release, it's time to let go. So go forward and leave the past behind is the card for the collective today. And I think that's a really powerful card for April, is letting go, stepping into more of your multidimensionality, stepping more into your light, stepping more into source, into higher self, abundance, love, joy, while we navigate everything that's happening out there. Right? While we navigate all that's unraveling in front of us. That's our job, that's our role. So there you go. All right, so let's go. Let's dive into these questions. So the questions, if you're new to this, I do these every couple weeks. I invite all of the community to enter their questions in on the community page here on YouTube. And then what I do is, what I've been guided to do lately is not pick the questions beforehand, but allow higher self and my guides to pick the questions for us. So I really try to get out of the way, and I just scroll through on my phone the questions for our highest good. What is it that we need to know now? What's going to serve us best right now? And so that's what we're going to do today. So the information is coming in from a lot of different consciousnesses. A lot of different beings are with us right now. I have Jesus with us. I have Mary Magdalene with us. I have Katumi with us. I have Ashtar with us. I have the Galactic Federation with us, and many other guides. So we're just going to let their energies and frequencies share with us. So my ego will get out of the way. My mind and personality will sort of step aside, so that a more pure consciousness can come through that doesn't have the human lens that I have, right? So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's just start. Let's see what we're being guided to listen to and to hear and to receive. All right. First question is from Candy Duke. I battle with an inner conflict question each and every day. Which is the most effective course of action to take for creating the highest quality outcome? Should I spend my energy, focus, and attention on fighting and resisting that which I do not want? Or spend my time, energy, and focus on creating what I do want? I'm specifically referring to the conflicts and extremely polarized environment of our external world. Do I fight to change the corrupt institutions and systems that are attempting to manipulate and control and eliminate our sovereign right to freedom? Or do I turn my attention away from such and allow the matrix to self-destruct and simply focus my attention and efforts towards creating the new earth? So this question popped up on my screen. I didn't even scroll. It just popped up, and it popped up on a different screen. So I knew my guides wanted me to start with this question. And it's really, I think, a question that we have every day as we're navigating this. It's really this question of how much do I do? How much do I charge forward with changing the situation? And how much do I step back and be in the situation? Allow it to unfold. And there's a balance. And first of all, it's very unique for each of us. Each of us, the most beautiful part about being human is we get to choose how we want to be. And there is no right or wrong way of choosing how you navigate through this. And we're all going to play different roles, right? We've spoken about this before. So you want to really tap into what feels the best in your body. There will be days where charging forward, saying no, standing up, speaking truth, right? Sort of having a resistance to it, or I'm not going to do this today. I'm not going to allow this today, right? I'm not going to wear the mask, or I'm not going to go into that store, or whatever that is, right? You're going to really stand and take a stance. And there may be other days where you sit back and trust that this is how it all unravels. And that on another level, another playing field, there really isn't much I need to do other than remember what's unraveling and to hold the higher states. So it isn't black or white. It isn't if I'm not charging forward and doing, standing up for my rights, protesting, speaking truth, educating. If I'm not doing those things, then I'm not assisting humanity. Or if I'm only doing the relaxing into the being state of holding higher states as much as I can, if I'm only doing that, I'm not assisting. It's not true. You being in the human body in this now moment as a being of light is assisting the human collective. It doesn't matter what you do. The more you remember who you are, that is what shifts the human collective, because the more you tap into who you are as a being of light in physical form, the more you will naturally and innately be in this and trust exactly what you're called to do. You see, we live in duality. And when you live in duality, we fall into this right or wrong way of doing things. I should be doing it this way. I should be doing it that way. Here's what it feels like when you start to step into higher states of consciousness while you are in the midst of an entire human collective breaking down. The only thing that you listen to is your energetic field, your resonance. What feels right to me in this now? Not what felt right to me yesterday. Why doesn't it feel right to me today? Okay, everything's going to be changing in every now moment. So who you were 3 days ago, you may not be in this now moment. And then 3 days later, you may be that same person again. But you don't beat yourself up if you find yourself having days where you don't want to speak truth, where you only want to hover in and go into a cave and just breathe and be and do your best to just hold compassion and empathy for the human collective. So you want to tap into what feels right to me, not what anyone else is telling me to do. Remember, just by being in the physical form and by consciously, courageously, and boldly moving through your now moments, meaning you are feeling things, you are observing you are recognizing old patterns, old ways, new ways, and you're courageously charging forward, you're shifting the entire human collective. So take the pressure off. Always come back to you right here. Always come back to your resonance. What are you feeling? Because here's the thing. If you're telling yourself that you should be doing these things that other people on social media are doing, I should be standing up, I should be speaking my truth, I should be doing this, etc., right? And you start to do it and you don't feel good inside. Maybe you're angry, maybe you're uncomfortable, maybe you have anxiety. Then you're not holding higher states of consciousness. You're not impacting the human collective. You're only perpetuating the consciousnesses that we're here to assist in crumbling. It may be better for you to just sit back, relax, and let others do it today, because what feels best for you and the way you stay most centered and aligned is to do nothing. So pay attention to when you're forcing yourself to do things, and what does it feel like? We are trying to release as much anxiety, stress, worry, anger, rage, fear, all of these things. We're trying to release those from our bodies as often as possible. So anytime we feel them in our bodies, what can we do to release them instead of perpetuating them? So this is the fine line in terms of how do we stand in our sovereign truth? How do we speak our truth? How do we hold our truth? How do we be in our truth without perpetuating anger, rage, fear, chaos, stress, worry? So you're always asking yourself, how am I feeling in this now moment? Because if you're holding those consciousnesses while you are trying to shift and make change in the world, your vibration is the same vibration that you're trying to shift. The key is to hold yourself in a higher vibration while you're shifting the entire human collective. So you're holding yourself in more light. You're stepping out of that density and changing from there. So you're speaking from compassion and empathy and love. You're speaking from a strong, sovereign space. You're saying no or yes from that sovereign, whole, embodied, aligned state, not from fear, not from anxiety, stress, or worry. Like, oh my God, if we don't do this, we're going to hell and the handbasket. Like, shit's going to hit the fan, right? Excuse my language. Like, everything's going to get worse if we don't start speaking up. That's anxiety, that's stress, that's worry in the body. And that's only perpetuating that which we are here to crumble. So all that matters in terms of how you show up right now is how you are feeling in your body. Because if you have two people standing speaking truth and one is yelling and belittling and frustrated and angry, and the other is holding compassion and empathy and love, this one's going to have more of an impact. This one's just perpetuating that cycle of anger, rage, fear. And our role as the ones on the front line is to pay attention to what we're perpetuating or what we are vibrating out from our physical bodies. Does that make sense? Okay, let's do another question. Okay, Yin Chi. While I'm on the journey of ascension, it is extremely hard in knowing my family is staying in 3D. How can I overcome this, especially regarding my teenage children? They are old enough to decide for themselves. Nevertheless, they are always my child. Thank you. This always comes up, right? This is a question that so many of us have. And it's really the question of, how do I allow myself to evolve? How do I allow myself to shift while people in my life are not shifting at the same rate? So the first thing that's coming through is, when you are watching yourself evolve and your partner, your friends, your family, your children are not evolving at the same rate, can you recognize and remember that we are all standing on the same earth? That it is impossible to not evolve. It is a matter of when. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, can you remember that you are designed to go first? So there's nothing out of the ordinary that's happening to you right now if you are watching yourself go first and the rest of the world around you isn't. It's designed this way by you, by the way. Nothing that you are experiencing right now is like haphazardly happening. You created all of it. You're designed to go first. So there's nothing wrong with how you are finding yourself going first. The challenge, and the reason this question gets asked a lot, is there's a fear that you're going to lose them. There's a fear that you're not going to be able to relate to them. There's a fear that there's going to be more anger or arguments or conflict. Your role as the awakened one, your role as the one that's choosing to go first, is to hold this remembrance for all of them. They know not what they know. They don't know. And it's okay. It's okay that they're not evolving at the same rate that you are. It's okay that they get angry with you. It's okay that they want to argue with you. When you hold those first two knowingnesses, which is that everybody that is standing on the earth is evolving, and that you came into the human body, incarnated into the human body, created this experience because you wanted to be first, you wanted to show the way, then you can look at everybody in your life and hold compassion and empathy for them because they chose something different. And your role is not to shake them awake. Your role is to compassionately and empathically and perhaps lovingly allow them to awake when it is their time. And so you are learning how to be in higher states of consciousness that they don't have to learn right now. So what? Who cares what their process is? Focus on your process. Focus on your experience. Focus on you. Nobody goes anywhere off planet. I've said this 1,000 times, right? So we're all evolving on the same earth plane, just holding different frequencies and perhaps standing on a different dimensional earth plane. So we're seeing things very different than the rest of our family, than our partners, than our husband, than our wife. And this is one of the most difficult parts of ascension, is learning how to navigate this with compassion and empathy, with loved ones that you love dearly, including your children, that have not chosen to be on the front lines right now, are choosing to wake up at a different time. And we need to honor that. We need to honor our family that is or isn't choosing to take the vaccine. We need to honor our family and friends and loved ones who are choosing or not choosing to buy into all of this or not buy into all of this. What is most important is that you remember your job and your role. Because the more you can remember why you're in this physical body, the easier it will be to look at everybody else with compassion and empathy and let them move through this. Of course, you speak truth. You stand in your sovereign field. You do what feels right for you. You navigate the journey with compassion and empathy for yourself. Many relationships may not make it past this process of evolving. Many relationships may end. There may be many new relationships coming. This is the part about releasing the past also, right? Like releasing, letting go of the grip that it has to be a certain way. It has to be a certain way. When we evolves, when all of these external break down, the last thing we want to try to do is control it. What we want to start practicing is flow. And flow is everywhere I go is always for my highest good, always bringing me into the next highest version of me, teaching me how to be in higher states of consciousness, not resisting anything that comes, just feeling it, allowing it, and continuing on to the next now. You get into arguments with your children because they believe ... let them be. You speak your truth, they get upset with you. How can you stay in your body with your breath and allow it all to just move through? Always holding firm boundaries when you need it, always speaking your truth when you need it, always stepping away when you need it. This isn't about getting beat up or abused in any way, shape, or form. It's about remembering who you are. It's about remembering why you're here now. It's about remembering that it's okay that people are still in a slumber. It is okay that humanity is asleep. What do you think our guides have been doing for the last 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years? They've been watching us asleep, crossing their fingers and wondering when we're going to wake up, loving us the entire time. Never do our guides say to us, does our higher self say, why are they not awake yet? How can they not be awake yet? These are all sheeple. What's going on? Higher self and guides don't do that. Higher self and guides says, this is a courageous journey, the human journey. Waking up out of a massive, dense matrix is very challenging. The amount of fear that is literally injected, no pun intended, into us is immense. And for us to look out at the external and get upset with all these humans that aren't seeing it the way we are is only perpetuating that which we're trying to dismantle. The more our bodies can vibrate compassion and empathy, the more we will impact those that are still asleep. Millions upon millions are going to wake up this month. That's what my guides told me. Millions upon millions are going to wake up this month. One, because it's going to get crazier out there, right? So the crazier it gets in the external, the faster humans wake up. But also because you are learning how to hold higher states of consciousness more often. Unbeknownst to you, maybe, but you are making an impact just by holding higher states of consciousness. This month is a massive month for waking up. Massive month for waking humanity up. Okay, here comes another one. This is a doozy. All right, here we go. I don't know the name of this. It just says N. A light worker has said, we need to avoid those individuals that have had the jab so that we do not organically merge with them and their rogue codes. What is your take on this? How on earth can we avoid family members who live in the same whole household? This makes no sense to me. Okay, so let's dissect this for a moment. First of all, if we perpetuate fear paradigms, if we perpetuate fear, then what are we doing here? We're not here to perpetuate fear. Okay? So the moment your body feels fear, resistance, anxiety, stress, worry, is the moment you need to look at that which is creating it and make a choice to play in it and buy into it and believe it or not. And the moment you make that choice, you are embodying those consciousnesses. There are going to be millions of humans that are going to get the jab. There are going to be millions upon millions of humans that won't get the jab. Either way, our job and our role, regardless of who gets the jab or not, is to continue to stay focused on holding higher states of consciousness. If we start to play an even more of a divide around who does or doesn't get the jab, that consciousness is perpetuating divide. So all of the storylines are true, whatever is being spoken around this. And there are also higher storylines and timelines that we are designed to hold, which is that no matter what is happening on the earth plane, no matter what is unraveling, your light in your body is more potent than any man-made physical chemical that goes into a human body to shift the human DNA and to shift their frequency. We are not here to get caught up in holy shit, they're going to impact me now. Their frequency is going to impact. How are we supposed to stay on the battlefield? How are we supposed to stay in this if we run away from that which we're here to shift? You have to remember the power of you, the power of your light, the power of your vessel, the power of your vessel. We're not here to go into that battlefield, right? The human collective and say, holy shenanigans, 70 million people now have this vaccine. I've got to run the other direction. Then how are you possibly going to serve? And you don't need to protect yourself if you know that you are a sovereign being. We are learning all of this because we've never done this before. So there's nothing wrong with those that are talking about protecting yourself. You're going to be impacted by the human that got the vaccine, that got the jab, et cetera, et cetera. There's nothing wrong with any of these storylines. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a matter of, what am I doing here? What am I playing in? What am I choosing? And how does this actually work? How does this actually work? So what these people have been saying is that your light is more powerful. If you listen to what these teachers are saying, most likely what they're saying to you is your light is more powerful than the energy that may be being transmuted out from a human body that got the jab. Maybe they're giving you techniques. Maybe they're giving you ways to navigate it. But you can go beyond that to a different level. And all you need to do is remember your light. That's it. Remember sovereignty. Listen, you guys, prior to the jab, there are so many humans that are walking around holding such potent, dense consciousnesses that have been impacting the human for a very long time. So this isn't anything new in terms of holding your sovereignty, holding your sovereign field. Recognizing that your light has the ability to impact anything that comes at you. It's a matter of what you're choosing to play in. And this is not about people that are saying this or people that are saying that, they're right, they're wrong. That's not what this is about. Because all of it is happening. All of it's happening. Human bodies are being impacted energetically by the jab. How do you want to view it? That's your choice. How do you want to view you in the battlefield with these bodies? That's your choice. That's the difference. There are many storylines that you can hold around this. All storylines exist in the battlefield. They all exist. They're all available. There isn't one that is the right one. It's not like, oh, well, you're saying there's something opposite of so-and-so. No, we've got a quantum field that we live in and we get to choose. And I'm offering up a way of viewing this that steps out of fear. I'm offering a way to view all the millions that are going to get the jab, how to see them and how to view them, which is I'm sovereign. My frequency in my body is rising more and more. I am designed to stand in all of this and not be afraid and not shy away and not need to protect myself. We didn't drop into the human body to protect ourselves from this. We dropped into the human body to shine through this, to shine, to emanate the light that we are. This is why you have gone through everything you've been going through the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. This is why you have been clearing out your body for this now moment. This is why you have gone through the dark night of the soul. This is why you have had all of the trauma. This is why you have gone through hell and high water. This is why you have dropped relationships. This is why you have moved many different times. This is why, so that you don't run and get scared from what is here in this now and what is continuing to come, but instead you stand in the body that you cleared out so that you can hold the light that you need to hold to combat what is here. That's why all of what you have gone through has prepared you for this now. You don't need protection unless you believe you need protection. You don't need to separate yourself from these people unless you believe it. Now, if you're trying to have a child, okay, that's a whole different story, okay? If you're trying to have a child, your partner got the vaccine, that is a scientific sort of conversation that we can have at another time. It absolutely impacts fertility. The vaccine impacts fertility. So it has the ability to create a sterilization. Okay, but you also are a being of light and you can choose your reality and you have the ability to transmute that. We all have the ability to create our reality and transmute, including the jab, including the chemicals that come in. One of the things we're learning that is a very challenging piece for us to learn is that no matter what goes into our bodies, we have the ability to transmute it with light. Many ascended masters went through such torture on their physical bodies, and the way they were able to transmute it was they shifted themselves into higher states of consciousness. They knew that they were not their body, but they were their light. And they knew they could move anything through them. They could go through anything because they were not their body, they were light. And the light is way more powerful than anything. Now, this is a concept that is really difficult for us right now, but we're going to get there. So just pay attention to what you're choosing to play in. That's all. These teachers are not wrong. They have your best interest at hand. And it's very true. What all teachers say is true. You get to choose. That's what's so beautiful about this quantum field is you get to choose which one you want to be in. And what happens is you find yourself when you're on the battlefield that you get to choose a different one. And then 6 months later, you choose a different storyline and then you choose a different storyline. Let's not make things right, wrong, good, bad. She said, he said, well, this person didn't say that and that person said that. Let's get away from that, right? Let's step out of that. Let's hold all of it as okay and just find what resonates. A lot of what I say may not resonate with you. Do you throw me out? Right? A lot of things that other people say may not resonate with you. Do you throw them out just because it doesn't resonate? We are learning how to hold it all, how to allow a unification of all thought, all belief, all of it. You don't have to agree. You don't have to be it. But can we allow it? Instead of this, like, this person said this and this person said this, right? Choose. That's it. Just choice. It's all choice. But we've got to pay attention to fear. I've said this in a video, but fear is the largest consciousness that we're shifting. Which means that in order to shift anything, you have to step out of it. You can't shift what you're in. So the only way to shift something is to step out of it, to see it, and then to choose to not be in it. And when you choose to not be in it, when you choose to not participate, you're not feeding it anymore. And when you no longer feed it, it starts to slowly dissolve. So the more humans that don't feed fear, and the way you feed fear is you are in fear. Fear feeds off you. So when your body is feeling fear, you are feeding fear, and the fear consciousness expands. In order to dissolve fear, in order to dissolve greed, in order to dissolve control, in order to dissolve mind control, manipulation, these consciousnesses, we have to step out of them. We have to see them. And then we have to choose to not be them. Be in them. That's how we do it. So as you are in this battlefield, holding more and more light, letting your body anchor you into higher states of consciousness, the moment you feel a fear storyline, a fear of any kind, observe it, feel it, and then choose. Recognize your body is the beacon that is shifting the entire human collective. It's your body. What your body emanates out as a pulse or a frequency impacts the entire human collective's frequency. I'm going to say that again. What your body pulsates or vibrates out, which is always vibrating out. Every now moment it's vibrating out. Every now moment it's vibrating out. Some pulse, which impacts the entire human collective. So what are you pulsating out in every now moment? Now, don't beat yourself up, okay? But can we pay attention to what your body is pulsating out in every now moment? Because it's impacting the entire human collective, and that's how we shift it. We're constantly pulsating out higher frequencies, higher frequencies, higher frequencies into that large collective so that the collective starts to hold higher frequencies. And then it pulls them. Okay, here's another one. From Natalie. These are heavy. I knew this was going to be a heavy one. Okay, Natalie, our returns of an emergence of mental illness symptoms, borderline personality, seeming inability to find inner connection and trust, emptiness and disconnection from my truth. Is the return of these things a potential part of this ascension process for some? I've been feeling a resurgence of these struggles to the degree where I don't identify with all the positives of ascension. I'm not even able to feel and connect to compassion or tenderness. I just feel numb. I feel disconnected and empty, negative, judging myself for seemingly not doing the work or having a similar experience to what others are positively experiencing about ascension. Willingness and excitement to face shadow. Am I way off track? No, Natalie, you're not off track whatsoever. So each of us are going to navigate this differently. Each of us has different traumas in our bodies, different relationships in our bodies. Each of us have different contracts, Akashic records that we chose to experience when we dropped in. And one of the hardest things about being human is that we judge ourselves compared to others. And so we look out at the community of ascending humans and awakened humans, evolving humans, and we say, well, I'm not feeling that. I'm not experiencing that. I'm not doing that. There must be something wrong with me. And what we're learning when we experience that is to have compassion for ourselves. And to start to actually say to yourself, or invite yourself to actually accept that maybe your journey is unique. That maybe what you're going through is perfect. It's exactly what you need to go through. It's your natural process of ascending. And by the way, rarely do you see people showing up in a depressed state. Rarely do you show people showing up in a disaligned, uncomfortable, not connected state. Rarely do you see teachers saying, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not aligned, I'm depressed, I feel like crap, right? You're starting to see more teachers speak like that, but rarely do you see it. Millions of humans are going through this ebb and flow of connection and disconnection, alignment, unalignment, depression, maybe not so depressed, right? Feeling blah, feeling a little less blah. This ascension process, this evolution in your consciousness is natural. It's happening. And there should be no judgment around it, meaning we should be practicing non-judgment around how we're experiencing this. To feel very off, to feel numb, to feel disconnected. What if somebody dropped in, a master of some sort, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, an angel? What if somebody dropped in and stood right in front of you and said, this is exactly what you need to be experiencing for your personal shift and evolution? Stop trying to change it. Stop trying to judge it. Stop trying to fix it, and stop comparing it. Do you realize how much faster humanity would shift because they would allow themselves to move into a flow state? When you move into that flow state, you are very uncomfortable, perhaps. But you recognize that every single thing you're experiencing is allowing you to evolve. It is part of your personal ascension. And when you make it wrong, when you judge it, when you try to fix it, you are literally holding yourself in it. When you say to yourself every morning, you are in a human experience. Your body is evolving. What is showing up in this now is allowing me to evolve. I hate it. I don't like it. This sucks. I feel ... That is the flow state. Flow state doesn't mean you ignore how you feel. Flow state means that you are brave and bold in allowing yourself to be as authentic and raw and real with you and your now moments. Especially when you don't like them and you don't want to be in it. All of us are going through this. The beginning of March was one of the most challenging months I've ever been in. And I spoke to my Patreon community about it and what I was going through. It was tough. I thought I was losing my mind. There were days in February and March where I literally thought I was losing my mind and I wasn't going to come back to me. Now, do I show up and do a video on that? No. Do I show up at my Patreon and talk about it? Yeah. Should I maybe be a little bit more honest and authentic and raw? Probably, as a teacher. But when you're going through it, it's very difficult to process it and teach it. But I never make anything wrong. I never judge it. I never, ever, because I know that every single thing I'm going through is part of my evolution. Everything. If you can hold that knowingness, Natalie, that this mental illness, these mental illness symptoms that you're experiencing, this emptiness, this disconnection from your truth, right? It's all allowing you to realign and reconnect. We've got to break down. We've got to basically sort of die over and over and over again in order to become. It's like you literally have to shake off or burn the layers of who you used to be so that you can be who you came onto this earth plane to be. How else do you get rid of it? And each of us are going to do it differently. Some of us may literally burn to the ground and then rise out of the ashes. Some of us may just sort of float down the river kind of casually, like, dude, this is pretty easy for me. No big deal. Does it mean they're not evolving in the same way? No, it means that they're doing their own personal evolution. How deeply can you wake up every morning and say to yourself, you are doing the best you can as a human? You are in a human journey. You are naturally evolving. Everything you are experiencing is for your own personal evolution. And the more you allow yourself to just have it, the faster you shift through it. The faster you shift through it. That's flow state. Beautiful question. Oh, Lord. Okay. Let's not do that one. Just pay attention to fear. There was a question about that an ascension window closed and that the majority of humanity would not make it this time around, meaning another 26,000 years. That doesn't make sense. Ascension doesn't close. Energy doesn't close. Energy doesn't stop. We are in a constant flow. We are constantly moving from lower states to higher states as an entire human collective and as an individual body. There is no such thing as this ascension closing or stopping unless the earth literally dissolved. Pay attention to fear. Okay, let's do another one. Ready? So many questions around what's happening right now. Okay. How are we going to move forward as a collective and ascend in humanity when so many are refusing to open their eyes to what's happening? Will anything ever make sense to them? Will they see the truth? Yes, humanity is waking up. Humanity is waking up. Humanity is waking up. Humanity is waking up. Humanity will continue to wake up. And the crazier it gets out there, the faster humanity will wake up. So hold the knowingness that humanity is waking up. And that as it gets more crazy and chaotic out there, it's great because it's going to continue to awaken more humans. Unfortunately or fortunately, I have no opinion around it, but the crazier it gets, the faster humanity will wake up. The more our freedoms are taken away, the faster humanity will wake up. The more people that are harmed by this jab, the faster humanity will wake up. The louder censorship gets, the faster humanity will wake up. This is happening in your now moment. This is happening right now. This is how humanity awakens. Many of you were asleep 18 months ago. Something dramatic happened and you were jolted awake. The rest of humanity, the majority of humanity, will find themselves in that same position in another now moment. We have to have patience, and we have to remember that just because you're awake now doesn't mean that all of a sudden you don't have to go through what this process looks like, which is holy shenanigans. We've got billions of humans that we now need to wake up. That's why you're here. So you didn't come out into the earth plane to say, why is humanity not waking up? You came onto the earth plane to say, let's go. I'm here to wake humanity up. Very big difference. You are not on the earth plane to say, why is humanity not waking up? You came onto the earth plane to say, I am here to wake humanity up. Let's go. And I don't get upset with them because they're not awake yet. How do I hold higher states of consciousness? How do I have compassion for myself when I am in states of awareness that I don't like? How do I allow my family and friends and children to go through their process while I continue to be the way shower, which means that I be the higher states that they're eventually going to step into? Let's do another one. Can you talk about manifesting and how we could get better or quicker at it? Simple way to manifest. I've talked about this a lot. Simple way to manifest. Ready? I gotta stretch my legs. Hold on. Okay. Here's how I do it. First of all, I let go of time. So I don't ever expect to manifest in any specific time frame. So if I manifest quickly, great. If I manifest in 6 months, great. If I manifest in 3 years, great. Like I don't hold on to time when I'm manifesting, because then there's an attachment. So you really want to get clear on attachment when you're manifesting. You don't want any attachment. Okay, so just pay attention to attachment. Am I attaching to a specific time frame of when I want this to happen? Sometimes they'll give you a time like, oh, it's going to happen in October, right? But then even that you want to let go of. So here's how I intend or manifest. I desire something. Okay. Like for me, I'm desiring a partner in my life. So we'll use that as an example. And so what I do is I hold the version of me with my partner, and I see it, and it's that version of me is with me in my now. I see me with him all the time in my now moment. So I'm embodying it over and over and over again. I'm embodying the version of me that I'm energetically picking up on, which is where the desire comes from. So when you're desiring something from a quantum level, or quantum field, you are attaching or connecting energetically to the part of you, to a piece of you, to you in a future now that's doing it, that's being it, that has it. So a little radar is going out into the quantum and it's going, there you are with your partner. And you're like, oh my God, I love that. I want that. I really, really want that. Okay, great. It's already done because you've connected to it energetically. So you already have that partner. That's the quantum field. You don't have to do anything. It's done. Except that you're in a now moment where that isn't. Except that that's already now. So you're learning to merge. That's what manifestation is you're merging two different timelines into one so they collapse. And so the way I do it is I take that timeline and I embody it. I feel it. I know it. It's right here, right now. Anytime I have fear around it, insecurity, it's not going to happen. I immediately connect to that version of me right here, right now. I embody her with my partner. I know that it's here now. I know that it's here now. Then I let go. Then I just let go of the how, why, when, the control of it, the attachment of it. And then I just move about my days. If you're creating a new career, a new job, you're going to do things that are going to lead those two timelines to merge, right? You're going to wait until something resonates. Oh, I think I'm going to go take a look at this. I think I'm going to set maybe a date of when I want to say I'm done. I'm going to quit, right? Or you're always taking action in every now moment towards the next now, but you're also in a state of beingness. So you're not trying to control how this embodied version of you is going to show up. If you know that it's already here, because it is, all you have to do is just be present in the now moment. What resonates, what doesn't resonate? What do you want to do? What do you not want to do? Instead of how can I get to that? How do I get to that? Your ego is controlling. And your ego wants it so bad that it's going to try to control how you get there. You can't control the quantum field. The higher self knows how to get you there. The higher self understands the quantum field. The ego doesn't. So when the higher self says, oh, she's got an intention, she's just embodied and connected to a version of her in another now moment, got it. Let's pull her into that. Let's pull those two versions together into the now moment. Then your higher self is going to lead you. And so then it becomes, how do I trust and listen to my higher self? The higher self is going to be quieter. The higher self is going to be less force, less effort, less push, more now, more resonance, more intuition, more what feels good, what feels not so good. And then you move. But the key is to know exactly what you're doing, which is you're tapping into a version of you that already exists in another now moment, in a future now. And you are bringing that version energetically right here, right now, and embodying it. And you do it over and over and over. And then over again. So you're literally layering yourself with that version. You feel her, you hear her, or him, right? You feel him, you hear him, you experience him, you know him. It's a done deal. It's a done deal. And I do that with everything. You have to know it like you know your name. You don't doubt. You know it. Hopefully that helps. Oh my gosh, we're already at the hour mark. Okay, let me do one or two more questions. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here's a question from Tess. This is my first time asking you a question, even though I have been watching your channel since March or April of last year. I'm wondering about this for a long time. I heard that currently there are millions or maybe even billions of starseeds on Earth. Some are awake and some are awakening, but many are still in a deep dream spell. If these starseeds are still in the dark, and got their vaccine, oh no, another vaccine question, and got their the jab, what happens to them? Doesn't it mean that they have failed in their mission for coming to Earth? What would happen to them if they got the injection and end up dying from it? Do they go back to their star system they're from, or do they just continue to reincarnate as 3D human beings and get another chance to ascend 26,000 years later? What's this 26,000 number? I don't understand what's going on with that. Okay. I wasn't expecting that question. Okay. So first of all, there are no mistakes. One of the messages that came in from Mary Magdalene a couple of days ago about the jab is that there are many humans that have volunteered. So you have to understand that part of the awakening process is that many humans are going to be harmed by the jab and by COVID. It's part of the awakening. So there could be many light workers or star seeds that have chosen to come in and be one of those that volunteers to die from the jab or COVID. This process of what we're seeing is assisting the entire human collective in shifting, regardless of what side you're on. This is very difficult for people to hold, perhaps, very difficult for people to grasp. But there is no such thing as the right role for a starseed or the right role for a light worker or a way shower. So many beings have incarnated at this time to assist in the human collective, and their assistance is, I will volunteer to be a part of that project. The jab project, the COVID project, any other project that comes. I don't know why they're calling it a project, but they're calling it a project. And so there's no victimhood in the human journey. There's none. So if there is a starseed that gets the jab and ends up passing, then from a much higher perspective, they are participating in the human evolution through that process, through that experience. Because Mary Magdalene said that there are many volunteers that have chosen to depart around this time in order to shift the entire human collective. Remember, what does it take to wake up a human collective? What does it take to wake a human collective out of fear? What does it take to wake a human collective out of mind control? What does it take to wake the human collective out of the matrix? They have to see that they're in it. They have to see that they are in fear. They have to see that they've been in a controlled state. They have to see it. That's what's so courageous about us being here right now in human form, is that we are recognizing exactly what we have been in and what we have to pull ourselves out of. And then we look and say, oh my God, we've got to pull humanity through this, which means we know that they have to see what they're in, that they can't see yet. And there's nothing wrong or bad about what humanity is in. It's part of the natural human experience. It's part of Earth. It's part of all of this. But there are many roles that starseeds have. There are many roles that you've had. There are many roles that light workers have on this planet right now. But there are many, 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 the majority of starseeds are going to wake up. The majority of starseeds have not chosen to pass through a jab. The majority of starseeds will succeed in their mission. The majority. 90%. So The star seeds are going to continue to get activated and wake up more and more, millions upon millions this month and next month. So the majority of them are not accidentally getting the jab and dying, or getting the jab and being affected on an energetic level. We have to remember that there's a much larger game at play, a much larger plan that is at hand here, that our ego and our personality and our mind can't remember. That there is no one that is a victim to any of it, that from a much higher perspective, from the higher self and beyond, it has all been chosen. And this is a concept that can be very challenging to hold. But they are saying that the majority of starseeds are not accidentally getting a jab that will kill them or that will decrease their frequency. So if there are starseeds that are getting the jab and they are designed to wake up, they will wake up. I'm going to say that again. If there are starseeds, young children and adolescents that are here to wake up and do the work, and they get the jab, they're going to wake up regardless. They are not victim to the jab. They're not victim to the vaccine. That includes you and I and all the other humans that are here to make a massive impact on the earth plane. If our role, if our blueprint is to change and shift the human collective without being impacted by what is unraveling, we will not be impacted by what is unraveling. Now, there are plenty of light workers that may have chosen to be impacted for the sole purpose of shifting the human collective. There are millions of volunteers, humans that are not part of the first wave, right? The front lines. And they may be impacted by the vaccine. They may be impacted by the jab. They may be impacted on an energetic level. But most of the starseeds will not, no matter what happens to them. And same with you. Same with you. This is coming in right now. If you are in a position where you are finding yourself having to get the jab, you will not be impacted by it. Most of you, 90%, maybe more. We're not designed to be impacted by the external. We're not designed to be impacted by it. It's a tricky line. It's a very thin line that we're walking. Because we have to remember, you guys, from the higher perspective, from the soul, from the spirit, from the being of light that you are, we have to remember how this plays out, how this works down here, the way this works down here. There are no accidents, really. There's free will. We can get ourselves into a little bit of a pickle sometimes. But for the most part, right now, it's too intensive a game for there to be accidents. Everybody is on their game right now, so to speak. All souls, all spirits are on, they're on. It's game time. There's no mistakes. So the starseeds that are still asleep, they know who they are in that slumber. They know what they're here to do. Game is on. They will wake up. Doesn't matter what happens. Same with us. Wherever you are in your path right now, wherever you are, the game is on. Your soul, your spirit, your light, it knows that it's game time. Let's go. This is why I came here. And nothing, including a jab, is going to stop me from doing what I chose to do by incarnating into a very, very low dimensional field. Nothing. And our job is to remember this. There is a very small percentage of us that is on the front lines compared to the large human collective standing on the earth plane. Our job is not to play in the dense external systems. That is our job. That is our role. Start remembering who you are. Start remembering why you incarnated. And nobody can do that for you but you. Start remembering that no matter what you believe about yourself, you are on the front lines. Start holding the knowingness that you cannot be impacted by the jab. Start remembering that you are here to remind people of what they are in with compassion and empathy. Start reminding yourself that it's going to get more intense before it eases up, because there are billions of humans that are unaware of what they are in. And you know all this. Everything that I'm saying, you know. We're just in it. And so we forget. We forget what the freak we're doing here and how to do it, because we've never done this. We've never done this before, not like this. So we're all looking around like, how do we do this again? How do I remind myself that I'm not being impacted by the insane things that are unraveling? How do I hold more compassion for myself as I go through this, because I can't escape it? I have to stand in it. How do I hold higher states of consciousness if I have children going through this? Remember what your role is as the one that is on the front lines. Remember your role. It's not their fault, so to speak, that they're still unaware of what they're in. Stop blaming them, meaning stop pointing the finger at them. There will come a time where a large percentage of humanity will wake up. We don't see what we've already accomplished because we're in it. When we're in something, it's very difficult to see what we've already accomplished from a human collective field. You are the master of your reality. You are the creator of your reality. Your thought, your behavior, your choice, your light, your state of consciousness is more powerful than any fear, than any jab, than any laws, pseudo-mandated laws, restrictions. We get through this by courageously holding ourselves in higher states of consciousness. And guess what? When we aren't in those, we love the hell out of ourselves, the heck out of ourselves when we aren't. And we constantly speak our truth, if that's what resonates. We constantly allow ourselves to be free. We are here to be free. We are here to step into an an actual state of freedom. And the only way that we step into a state of freedom is that we recognize that we have been enslaved. And what a gift that awareness is, because now we become free. And from a much larger perspective, we've always been free. Always been free. We have always been free, even when we were even when we were trapped in that matrix, right? Controlled and conditioned. We were still free. We just weren't aware of it. So as soon as you recognize what you're in, you tap into the freedom that you've always had. And then you're free. And when you tap into that kind of freedom, it doesn't matter what happens externally. You know that you're free and that you are always choosing. And that nobody can choose your state of consciousness. Nobody can choose your state of consciousness except you. And that is what we are here to teach humanity. That's what you're here to teach your children, your loved ones, your family, your friends. That we are not here to be told what to think. We are not here to be told what to do. We are not here to be told how to be. We're not here to be told how to feel. We're here to be sovereign. We're here to choose. We're here to live our lives through resonance, our energetic field, analyzing and critically thinking about the external world and what makes sense to me, what I want, what state of awareness, what state of consciousness do I want to be in. What state of consciousness, what state of awareness do I want to be in? And reminding humanity that they actually have a choice. We don't have to follow what the external tells us, the external systems. What if we didn't? Right? And we aren't, many of us. We're choosing. And when you find yourself in a situation, in a country, in a state, in a city, in a town, in a province, where your freedom looks as if it's being taken away, remember, this is for the benefit of the entire human collective waking up. And your role is to hold that remembrance, to remember that you are always free within your body. You always have free choice in terms of your state of consciousness, and that we get through this. You chose to be in the state, city, town, country, and continent that you find yourself in right now, not by accident. So where are you? How intense it is. That's how courageous you are. Don't forget who you came down here to be. If you're in a country right now that is in massive lockdown, what a courageous being of light you are. If you have children that you have to put in a school and you have to figure out whether you're going to give them a jab or not, what a courageous light worker you are to navigate this, to hold higher states of consciousness while your family navigates this in a different state of awareness Every single one of you is impacting the entire human collective through your awareness and through your choice. Nothing's an accident. And this month, we are practicing this boldness. We are practicing this knowingness, this remembrance. We are practicing even more sovereignty and compassion, and that there are no victims. We are practicing that fire, tapping into that fire within us. Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, heck no. That's not why I'm here, right? Why am I here? I'm here to blaze through every system that no longer serves humanity. And you blaze through it by remembering who you are, by remembering what this is about, by embodying your physicality, by feeling everything, by allowing everything to be okay, by no longer attaching and judging yourself or judging your experiences, and stop judging everybody else. Let them be, and hold higher states of consciousness over and over and over. How deeply can you love? Love not being accepting necessarily. Love being, you're on your human journey and I'm on my human journey. And God bless you. I know what I'm here to do. Get out of my way. I've got a human collective to shift. Get out of my way. I've got a human collective to shift. That's who you are. In your depressed state, in your states of unalignment, disconnection, numbness, boredom. How many of you are bored? How many of you are bored? Raise your hand. So what? You're here to shift an entire human collective. How are you doing today with that? And the way you shift the human collective in a very bored state is that you hold compassion for yourself in that bored state. When you walk out to do something, you try to smile at someone, maybe wave at a random person you don't know. Look at all the people that are caught up in fear and honor them. Understand why they're in so much fear, because there was a moment in a previous now where you may have been in that kind of fear. That's how you shift. Speak your truth, regardless of how somebody responds. How courageous is that in this now moment where we have this cancel culture that is so prevalent that God forbid you should say something that somebody doesn't like, they turn their back on you. They light you up on fire. And yet here we are, designed to speak our truth. We're all Joan of Arcs. We're all Gandhis. We're all Martin Luther Kings. We're all Mother Teresa's. We're all of these beings that walked the earth plane before us. We're all of them right now. And every moment that you are in is giving you an opportunity to step deeper into those aspects. To step deeper into those aspects. April is a fire month. It's a month of just going for it. The fire has been lit under a lot of us. And before I go, I want to say that I want to promise you guys that we are moving in the direction of evolution. We are moving in the direction of higher states of consciousness. We are moving in that direction. Millions of humans have woken up because of you. Millions of humans are going to continue to wake up because of you. So don't doubt. If you doubt, you doubt. But remember, it's working. We're doing this. It's effective. It's effective. You're being effective. All that's unraveling is okay. When you find yourself fearful or, oh my God, it's getting worse. Oh my God, people aren't waking up. Oh my God, why, whatever it is, can you quickly shift yourself into, no, this is beautiful. This is exactly how it's going to go so that more millions of humans can wake up, so that less humans can be harmed. This is why you're here. Okay. I think we're done. Are we done? I think so. And if you're one of those that's like, I'm getting tired, I'm losing patience, I don't want to wait anymore. Imagine how your guides felt. Imagine how all these other beings feel watching humanity. You know, there is no time. So have patience. Try to have patience with this process. We're all going through it together. So don't forget also, you guys, you're not alone. We're all over this earth. We're all over this earth energetically connected. You're not alone doing this. You're not alone thinking what you're thinking, feeling what you're feeling, knowing what you're knowing, experiencing what you're experiencing. You're not alone. There are millions of us that are leading this forward, that are leading this charge. Look at all the 2,000 people that are just here right now. It's a small, tiny, minute number compared to the millions that are out there right now, working, taking care of their families and their friends, mowing lawns, on an airplane, teaching in hospitals. They're all over the world doing all kinds of stuff. So it's beautiful and it's perfect. If you're feeling off, I'm familiar with that feeling of off. If you're feeling off, it's uncomfortable. But the way that I get through feeling off is that I allow myself to be off, and then I do what it is that my off being person wants to do. So a lot of times when I feel off, I won't do a video. I'll try to meditate. It may or may not work. A lot of times when I feel off, I don't want to talk to people. I usually want to binge on some sort of Netflix. Maybe I will, sit for a while and listen to different types of music, whatever it is, but I allow myself to flow through the off. I don't try to pull myself out of the off. I just move with it. And the off changes. But if I try to fix the off, change the off, or do things to like refocus the off stays a lot longer. So when you're off, just allow yourself to be in that off state like you would if you were on. And then try not to make the off state bad. It's hard because when you're feeling off, you're so freaked out that it's going to be a while, right? It's like, oh my God, how long am I going to be off? How long am I going to be off? How long am I going to feel off? That's how I feel, at least. It's like, oh geez, is this going to be a day? Is this going to be 2 days? Is this going to be 3 days? Because for me, when I feel off, it's really hard to show up. It's really hard to do videos. It's hard to connect, right? So for me, I'm always like, oh my God, how long is this off going to be? So I just allow the off moments. I move in them. I don't get stuck in it. So the way you get stuck in a moment is that you attach to it and you freak out over it. And then you you're like holding it. Oh my God, I'm off. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Oh my God, why am I off? Oh my God, how do I change the off? How do I fix this off? Oh my God, do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? You're attaching to the off instead of flowing. When you flow through an off, when you flow through any state, any emotion, you don't attach to it. You don't judge it. You don't fix it. So trying to fix something, trying to attach to it, trying to judge it, making it right or wrong, you are then attaching and pulling yourself into it, and now you have anchored it. Now you're hanging out with it. Okay, that's like you're flowing through the river. You hit a rock that's the off rock. When you hit that off rock, you now feel off for a little bit, but you can still feel off while you flow through the river. So you hit the rock, but you continue. You hit the moment of off and you feel off for a little bit. Many of us, what we do is we hit that rock that's the off rock or the board rock or the whatever, and then we grab it. Shit, I'm feeling off. Oh my God, I hate feeling off. Oh my God, I don't want to be off. How do I fix this off? You're attached to the rock of off, hanging out with it, trying to fix it, when really the only way to fix anything is to not fix it at all and just let yourself be when you hit it. And then you move through that moment of off or whatever it is. You just let yourself feel it. You let yourself go through it. You let yourself be. Just let it be. Just stop trying to do anything with it. And then the next thing you know, as you're floating, you're like, oh, feeling something else all of a sudden. Great. Maybe you hit a rock that's not feeling aligned. You're like, oh, I just hit the rock of not feeling aligned today. So what? The more you can say, so what? Big deal. Who cares? The easier it's going to be to move through things. So what? Big deal. Who cares? Next. On all fronts, for everything. Because it's going to get rockier out there on that river that we're flowing. It's going to get rockier. There's going to be more boulders we're going to hit. We're not designed to grab the boulders. We got to just let ourselves be in this. We got to let ourselves get hit, knocked out, bruises. We have to start practicing that flow, which is, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm experiencing. And I'm just going to stay present without trying to fix it. So what do I need? What feels right? What will feel good right now? What's happening in the now? That's it. So what? Who cares? Big deal. And sometimes you just have to have cookies and Netflix. Sometimes you just have to have caramel chocolate, sea salt caramel chocolates, and Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever it is that you just need to do to escape, right? Movies, whatever we need to move through this. Popcorn. Sea salt caramel chocolate is my favorite. No chocolate. Yeah. It's hard to watch Netflix. It's hard to watch a lot of things now. I don't know if you guys are feeling this, but it's very difficult to watch anything. There is such a artificial, it's almost like you're watching something that is so matrixy, like you can almost see the web in the shows, right? You're like watching the shows and you're like, oh my God, I can see the robotic programmed matrix working its way in that show. I can't do it. I can't. This sucks. I can't watch that. I can't watch that. I can't watch that. And then you find one and you're like, okay, I can do that. I can watch this one, right? It's what happens when we exit out of the matrix. It's really challenging. When all of your like go-tos are no longer resonate, it's like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been recognizing with myself that my go-tos that I used to do, I can't do anymore. So now what I do to kind of like escape is I'll lay on my floor and like listen to music. I do that a lot. I'll journal. That doesn't really feel that great when you're trying to like escape. Um, what else do I do? If I find a really good show, I'll be super stoked on that if it has a lot of series seasons, because then I can. But it's hard when your go-tos no longer resonate, because we're designed to not have go-tos. We're designed to be able to be at peace in every now moment. We're designed to be able to kind of just be in all of it peacefully without having to have a go-to, right? But I'm not there, not even close to that. But I am noticing myself shifting more and more out of like my go-tos to more of like just a state of being more and more. Like I'm even flowing through the moments of needing to escape. It's interesting. Even the moments where I'm like, God, I just need to escape. Sometimes even in those moments, I'm in more of an aware flow state. It's weird. It's hard to explain. Yeah, I can't watch that man either. All right. Is there anything else before we go? One of the shows I'm watching right now that I do resonate with is it's on Amazon Prime. It's called, oh my God, is my brother on here? Because he could tell me what it's called. What's the show we're watching on Amazon Prime, Mikey? Um, Hand of God? Hand of God? I don't know if my brother's still here. I think it might be called The Hand of God. Hand of God. I need a rest. You're right. Okay, I love you guys. And I'll see you guys next time. I haven't been doing a lot of the YouTube. I spend most of my time on my Patreon community, so I haven't been coming on to YouTube, but it feels good to be on YouTube. I'll try to do more YouTube stuff. Okay. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. And share this to anyone that needs to hear any of the information that came through. If you are new, subscribe to the channel. And when you subscribe, hit the bell button, the notification button, and that way you'll get notified when I go live. Otherwise, you won't know when I go live. Okay, love you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being an amazing light worker, way shower, starseed, freaking amazing, amazing being in human form. Thank you for incarnating at this time. You're doing it. We're doing it. I love you.